Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's Brian and Jim here, drinking beer and playing a game, and welcome to another episode of the Power Hour podcast.
Bri, we are 340 episodes in. Sidney Crosby is still a bitch. Hello, all you Mike Vrabels and Diana Rossini's. Welcome to a new episode of the Power Hour podcast. And speaking of guests, thank you to Matt, Jay, and Dylan of the Fun Time Boys for joining us last week. Always have a good time with them. Was way too long since we had last spoken to them. So make sure to check the links in that episode. Go follow them wherever you can. And yeah, how you doing, Bri?
No, that was to your point. You had two good points there, Jim. First, thank you so much to the boys. It's always great talking with them. Always wonder, man, we got to get them on more and more often. It's always a great time. So yeah, check them out in the links below. And yeah, Sidney Crosby, finally this late in his career gets called for diving for the first time, Jim,
For the first time ever.
which is crazy because that dude is a mess. He might as well be in the ocean how much he dives, and he never got called for it. Here
Nope.
we are, Jim.
I mean, it was like watching a soccer game out there with that guy. What the hell? You jack a guy off a guy, you jack off a guy. What are we doing here? Huh?
Damn it!
But he really is like he's always like the Penguins are so fucking dirty. This is funny coming from a Flyers fan, but like they have Evgeny Malkin, like the dirtiest little asshole ever. He's an amazing player. Crosby's just that little sniveling worm that like you just hate, but God, do you wish you had him on your team? But yeah, I mean, if you want some, of course, we're recording this on April 23rd. So by the time this episode comes out, series might be over. We might be shitting bricks because of an improbable comeback. Who knows? But the Flyers are currently up 3-0 over those asshole Penguins. And as of right now, all is good with the world.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the most appropriate memes was the Thanos, and it was like, "What did it take for the Flyers to get here?" It's like the Phillies.
Fair trade. Fuck them.
I mean, yeah,
They had their shot.
Yeah, well, you know what? Hey, it's been a minute, Jim, since we've been really excited about Flyers. So I'm all for it. Let's do it. Come on, man. Let's just stay behind the boys.
And the glory that is gritty.
They've been releasing some good promos or whatever you want to call them, but he's
Right. He was the best part of
terrible.
this team for about 6 seasons. No, he is not terrible. He is a goddamn treasure. You do not talk about gritty that way.
He's I Jim, I will
You
never.
can take your commie
I don't-
ass back
we
to
can win
Finland
the
with that
Stanley
talk,
Cup.
all right?
And I will never say he's a good mascot. I'm not going to do it.
What?
Jim. I'm not.
You are
Sorry.
fucking high. He
He's-
he killed a penguin and threw it
Yes,
off the
no, no,
deck.
no. The promos they're doing are S tier. I'm saying strictly from looks. He's
Great
a,
design.
he's a D tier.
Right.
He
Him just
look-
standing there
he looks
stoically
like
looking
a-
at them as they're warming up
Jim,
is the perfect way to get in their heads. And he's so cute and lovable.
he looks like Delco Irish that's on meth. All right.
Yeah. Perfect for Philly.
I know it is, but I don't want it represented all the time.
And he's cute when he does it just like me.
I think if we just throw orange hair on you, you are basically gritty.
And I will be way more loved than I am now. I think we need to do this.
Until they're like, oh, let's look into Gritty's past. What are some comments he's made?
No past. Good past. Clean slate. I'm a good boy.
Are you, Jim?
I'm a good boy.
I'm kind of retarded.
Damn it, Jim. Well, all right. So I was going to ask, what are you drinking? And bold move there, Cotton, because I see you drinking straight from the can instead of pouring it.
I should have been pouring it at first, but it has evened out since.
Okay, so what is that? Because it looks like something. Is that bananas I see on the side?
Bri, so once again, I told the story about my buddy and his trip to get all the Shiner beer in the world. So this comes to us from Texas, from the Shiner Beer Company. It is their Shockwave, their Blue Raz Shandy. It is beer brewed with agave, with lemon and natural flavors added. So it's a bunch of lemons on there. You were close, but no cigar. They got some like raspberry looking shits on here. 8% alcohol for a shandy. So that is
Pretty
something
strong. Yeah,
That's strong
that's
for a shandy. And when you first take the sips of it, I should have been pouring it out, but whatever. I have another one. Not in this flavor. I'll say that for next week. But very, very thick mouthfeel. Even for like a shandy, it like
hmm
the first one that hit my mouth, I was like, whoa, that is not what I was expecting. And at first I wasn't sure if I liked it, but it has been mellowing out into a very nice little drink. And that might just be the 8% alcohol talking too, but nope, so far so good. This is a tasty little girl. I'm drinking it out of the can because I'm kind of treating it like a tailgate. Like this is like a perfect, 2.5 beer size can that you just take like, a 6 pack of for 2 hours of tailgating and you blast through them. It's like the kind of thing you would buy at a stadium. Only it would be
yeah.
like $18 there. So
Yeah, I mean, shandies by design are, if you even look up the definition of them, they're supposed to be low alcohol because they're really a beer cocktail because they're made of beer and some kind of mixture like lemonade or citrus or soda. Um, I actually have a 4 pack or 6 pack of the Leinenkugel summer shandies, which are delicious.
yep.
How is it faring against that?
Um, at first, I would have definitely preferred a line of Kugel, but as it's been going on, it's like it does have a weird, slightly not like I want to say acrid, but it's not like that bad. But there is something weird with the aftertaste in the back of the throat. I don't know if it's the agave or what it is, but I'm just like, don't you give me that goddamn
I
smug look.
didn't even say
Don't,
anything.
Bry. I'm a man who knows his weird taste in the back of his throat. All right. Talking to an expert here. This one's throwing me for a
Mm,
little loop here. Okay.
okay. See, I can't even look. Can't have friends. Can't look at my friends. God.
Yeah, can't do anything. Yeah, go fuck yourself.
um.
Come.
Damn it. Fuck. I want to be done with these. I've now. This is the third podcast. Like, and I said I nobody other than like Tommy, I think even had any of these when we were over. I just
Yeah, I don't think
haven't.
I wound up having any of them.
I haven't been in an IPA mood, and as I said at the last podcast, like I'm purposefully only drinking these on the podcast, and even though I'll go through three or so per podcast, like I think I still have another three left after tonight, maybe. But like, I want to move on, and I want to go out to the beer store and get myself some new beer. I've said before, third time in a row, from Distill Brewery, love the can design, love that it's a black can. Um, it's not a bad IPA. Like it's just so middle of the road, especially this one, their regular Deadhead IPA, that it doesn't stand out. And for some reason, all of them, every single one of them has schmutz at the bottom of the can, which,
Right, it's unfiltered. It's the flavor.
you know what, Jim? Filter. I'll take a little less flavor. I don't need chunks in my beer. All right. I don't need a little snack. If I want that, I'll have a dirty martini and eat the olives. I don't need a snack with my beer.
Right, it's like a yeast infection in your mouth, and everyone's invited. You should be loving it.
Damn it, Jim.
What?
Woosah.
Woos.
But Chambers, last week, I think you had a pretty quiet week when it came to gaming. So, what you been up to this past week? Have you been able to do anything? Are you fucking about?
So, I mean, right, between the Flyers and the Sixers playoff schedule right now, it's a little rough. But I did get some gaming in, and this is actually piggybacking off of your best video game music daily uploads. So, one of the uploads came from our dear friend Pam from Cannot Be Tamed and the Point of Drink Adventure.
Whoop,
She put
whoop.
in a song from Bastion, and it was like, it's a pretty cool song. And then her co-host Michelle, our dear friend, she was like, "Oh, you guys haven't played that? You need to play Bastion." So I was like, "You know what? That's been burning a hole on my Switch for like 4 years now. I got it for like $2 in a sale one digital day, one something like that." So I was like, I looked it up and I was like, "Oh, you can beat the main story in like 6.5 hours, or it can
Hmm.
do the entire damn thing in like 20." So I said, "Fuck it, I'll give it a go." I remember this being a big deal back in like the early 2010s when it came out. It originally came out in 2011 on the 360 Xbox Live Arcade, and I gotta say, Bry, bit on the overrated side. Got to be honest.
Is it also, here's the deal. We know Pam. We know her preference in games tends to lean towards story heavy. narrative driven character development, which is not your forte or your strong suit.
Not my forte. I'm strong, but just not my forte. I choose not to care.
It's not your strong suit. Let's put it that way, Jim.
I
Character
choose not to
development
care.
is not in you. It's dumb, mindless fun is your go. Like that's Jim in a. It's don't think, keep it simplistic. Throw me pretty colors. That's all you need.
Look, a man can't enjoy colors.
I'm,
Speaking of this game has colors in spades. So there you go. I should be enjoying it. Go fuck yourself. Debunked your bullshit right there.
but yeah, I assume based on the gameplay that I was seeing, uh, the gameplay takes kind of not full backseat, but it seems like you're supposed to be exploring the world, figuring out what's going on, figuring out the story.
Kind of. So basically the gimmick of the game is like, you wake up in the Bastion, which is supposed to be the thing for all the people to escape what's called the calamity that kind of destroyed the world. You're there with a handful of survivors. There's one guy who talks the entire time and he kind of narrates everything you do. And he also kind of explains the story through both the main levels you have to do and side missions and crap like that. But the music, I have to say, is exceptional. I know it's all done by one guy. The game was developed by like 7 people, but the one guy who did the music, like, knocked it out of the park, does a lot of different mixtures of types of, like, genres and crap like that. And he did a great job. And the hand-drawn artwork is nice. And to, like, get around the typical, it's an action RPG, which I never got that vibe from it, but they consider an action RPG. And it's actually made by Supergiant, who makes Hades. So it was like their first like game, basically. And yeah, so the world, like, it's an isometric, hack and slash, basically, but it's an action RPG kind of deal. And the world, like, kind of builds around you as you move. So that was their trick to kind of like not need to use a world map. And the ever-present narrator was their way to not have like just walls of text. So from those points, it should be a game made for me. The problem is, like, the core gameplay level to level is the same thing every goddamn time. You go to a level, you're trying to find a piece of a shard. You go into a level, you're trying to find another piece for this center thingy to make the world come a little bit more alive. And you just do it again and again and again and again and again. And you have like maybe 2 different options to very slightly tweak what happens in the story at the very end of it. And like to see like 2 more screens of like the presumed real ending, you have to play again on New Game Plus, and I just don't care enough to do that. So I can look up their screens on YouTube. Like, I got it for $2 on a flash sale. It was a fine use of $2 in about like 8 to 9 hours because I did some of the side shit, but not all of it. Is it one I'm ever going to go back to? No. But yeah, it's one of those. It's definitely one of those games that's not for me, but whatever. It's an indie gem. I can somehow this year I've played 2 oddball RPGs, so I don't even know who I am anymore.
Jim, would the game Bastion be improved if you played as Bastion Bucks?
Of course, it'd be better if it was by Bastion Bucks. How would it not be better? Or
Now,
even Bastion Booger. I'd rather be Bastion Booger.
now the real question is, do you remember who Bastion Bucks is?
No.
Oh no, not the dumpster again.
God damn it. It's that little brat, huh?
Jim, never ending story. He's a classic.
Oh, God, that movie sucks.
It's the
That movie
greatest
sucks.
movie. It
Overrated.
is the greatest.
Stand by me.
See, everyone,
Overrated.
Everyone, you can hate on Jim. Likes to say I'm the one who hates on good things or whatever. He hates on.
No,
Never
you
Ending
just
Story.
don't like. You don't like. Yeah, it's no. Well, you know what? I didn't
Every
have
kid that
adventures and
was
fun in
sick-
my childhood,
No.
so I'm bitter against other kids who have adventure and fun in theirs. All right, that's what it comes down to.
Every
That's my
normal
trauma
kid
dump.
who was sick and our age, you had 2 or 3 movies you watched when you were sick. Not you didn't watch the fucking Price is Right. You could have, but if you had a VHS, you had Never Ending Story or Labyrinth. Those were the movies you watched when you were sick. And goddamn Bastion Bucks and Atreyu were heroes.
Man,
And don't forget Falcor. He was the flying dragon. See?
Bitches.
Jim,
Bunch
he
of
hates
bitches in the
animals,
80s.
He hates everything.
Bunch of little crybaby bitches. And the Goonies. Don't get me
You were
started
one
on
of
the
those.
Goonies. Man, if you want to be fucking bored,
Jim-
go watch the goddamn
Jim,
Goonies.
let's be honest. Your hatred with the Goonies goes for some other reasons.
not Jerry O'Connell. I will not truffle shuffle.
Let's not act like you hate the Goonies because of the movie itself.
I hated it beforehand because, and then I grew to hate it by actually trying to watch it.
But Jim, it's a time capsule of the 80s.
Yeah, shit.
Jim, you just hate the 80s. I think that's the problem.
I hate all the 80s. Like my sick movies, The Terminator was one of them.
Okay. Okay.
That and Star Wars, that was my go-tos.
Jim always wanted to be Sarah Connor.
Oh my God, Kyle Reese, make it. Oh, wait.
Damn it.
Play with my boobies, Kyle.
Well, Chambers, I have been gaming like a fiend. I beat another 3 dungeons in Link to the Past. And I'm fully at the point where like it's beyond cryptic shit. I talked about it last time, but like it's so cryptic where I didn't realize I was even missing items where I'm like, I can't figure out a way to get these dungeons. Oh, I need a special emblem that fucking has a quake power to open up a rock that I did. And I'm like, okay, what? I'm not even like, then I made the mistake. I was like, let me just look up, like, how do I get to this thing? And in seeing this, I see somebody open up their inventory. I'm like, he has all this shit I don't have. Like, apparently I've been underpowered. Like, I haven't upgraded my sword, like my fucking tunic, like, and I've been wondering why some of these bosses are so fucking hard. Like, I still Brian bullshit them and I'm beating them, but I'm like, this is taking me so many fucking hits. And then I realized I was like, so I'm doing a little bit of a side quest for before I get the last 2 crystals or whatever I need. I still enjoy the game, but that cryptic shit, nah. Like, and I can, if you give me a map and some very loose tips, I can figure out any game. That game, I'm sorry, nah. There's just horse shittery, and I know that's a Zelda fucking staple, and I'm not saying anything crazy, but so I've been playing through that. I think I've pretty much hit my limit with Thief Simulator. I keep wanting to like the game, and I'm over my hour mark that I said I will dedicate to each of the games I have in my backlog. But I can't like it. It's buggy. There's issues. I like the concept a lot, but a lot of things just don't work for it. So probably pretty much done with that. I randomly decided, I was like, let me update Helldivers 2. I want to get back into some kind of shooter. So I got my ass fucking whooped on the first map I went to. So I'm going to try to actually reach out to our buddy Nick, because I know he plays it a lot. Our buddy Mello, he plays it. So I want to fuck around with that. And then do you remember that game For Honor I have?
Yeah.
Yeah, I started fucking around with that. I can't believe that thing is still going hardcore. There's a lot of DLC, and it's one of those games where while you can pay money to unlock all the heroes, you can absolutely 100% do it for free. It just would take a shit ton of grinding. But I appreciate that even heroes that you, in theory, they really want you to just pay the 10 bucks for a bundle, you could grind away. So I'm like, you know what? I still respect that. So yeah, I've been fucking around, just trying a whole bunch of different games. I took a break from Resident Evil 9 from like the speed run thing I was doing for it. I was a little burnt out. And
You don't say.
I will say, been following your guys' comments, and a bunch of you were like, hey, I love that you guys covered all the Resident Evil games. Can you do the review for Resident Evil 9? I have no faith that Jim will get around to it, so I will gladly do a review for Resident Evil 9.
It might be a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want it in a timely fashion, Brian, you can handle that one.
Yeah, I'll bang that one out. But like we say before, I love that you guys, between the music, even old reviews, when you guys comment, we do listen, we take it into consideration. And of course, the ones we care, I don't want to say care about the most, but we appreciate the most are the ones supporting us over at Patreon.
The ones we pay the most attention to.
But Chambers, what questions we got this week from our awesome patrons?
Questions that you can get in over at patreon.com/drink a beer and play a game, where for as little as $2 measly bucks a month, you can ask a question that we will answer on each and every single one of these Power Hour podcasts. So first up is one that came in late last week from good old JD Mains. Among your reviewed, is your lowest rated game actually the worst game? Or in other words, did your scoring system inflate a bad game slightly above the other turds? That is a good question.
That is a great question. And while you think, I'm pulling up our actual sheet with all of our scores.
Yeah, Brian, you bring it up, you filter out by, score low to high. I will give some guesses as to what is at the bottom.
All
I will.
right.
Do you have it up?
Almost. Hold on.
Probably if you is your refractory period over. From our wonderful Krusty Corner we had earlier for as little as $1 a month. You can check it out below.
All right. So let's filter all this shit. Man, we reviewed a lot of games.
Yes, we have.
Holy shit. All right.
Can you imagine if we kept that pace up we were doing before?
It's actually impressive how much we've done. All right. So turn
no
this.
one cares.
Damn it, Jim. Create a filter. Now let's go. Damn it. Oh, so stupid. Okay, I can't filter overall. All right. Well, how about this, Jim? How about
I hope you remember to filter or edit this part out as you're trying to dick around with it.
No, this is fine. Here's the deal. I'm gonna read off some of the low ones, and I want you and I just to give quick takes on do we think it's the worst. But to answer your question before we do this, I will say Jim and I, even though if you watch a lot of our newer ones, I feel like I don't know if we've gotten to a point where we tend to agree more. There was a lot of games in the past where there was huge variances in our scores. So like, I would really hate a game. Jim would be like, oh, it's not too bad. And vice versa.
Superman 64, baby.
Yeah, that's probably the worst game right there. But let's see also just recalling it, Jim, because that's the thing I'm always fascinated. And I can appreciate when people go back and re-review games.
Dude, there are so many games I forget that we even touched.
Yeah. So one of them was Krusty's Super Funhouse.
I like that game. It was a Lemmings clone, but it was a decent one.
We gave it a 3.9.
It had problems. Was that the NES port or was it the all of them?
So there's Krusty's Funhouse and then two different Krusty's Super Fun Houses.
Oh, yeah.
So
That's right.
one version, and unfortunately, because we didn't put it, like I'm sure in the video we specified,
Probably the NES one is probably the lower.
Yeah, the one got a 3.9 from us. So
either the NES or the Game Boy, probably.
Oh, actually, there was a Simpsons game that got even lower. It was Bart versus the Space Mutants.
Oh, that game sucks.
We did not enjoy that one.
Yeah, like that game like sucks, controls bad, and is cryptic. So it's like a triple whammy.
I think the biggest issue with that game, and I even have our little notes on the side, was like the controls were awful. The momentum always fucks you up going into the wrong. The music was on a continuous loop, and it's just such a hard game due to the bullshitty nature of the control. So 3.8 so far is the lowest I'm seeing.
We have lower.
Let's see if we got lower.
There's no way Karate Champ is not lower. Come on.
2.5 for Superman on the Game Boy.
Oh, the fucking keys. That game, and
that was
why are you Superman looking for keys? You can fly through the core of the earth. Why are you looking for keys?
And just for context, it would have been lower. So we have all of our like criteria, graphics, sound, control, gameplay. They're not all weighted equally. Control and gameplay have highest weights. I gave the control a 1. You gave it a 4. If you had rated it lower, it might have dipped who knows how low. Because we both gave like gameplay, I gave it a 2, you gave it a 3.
Well, what was I smoking that day? Jesus.
I don't know. But yes, okay, so 2.5 is the new lowest. Well,
like Wayne Gretzky hockey, that's got to be worse.
2.8 for winter games. I remember that game was dog shit.
Yeah, winter game sucks.
Because both of us gave the control and gameplay for that one 2s.
Yeah, that's like California games, but somehow worse.
Yeah, but we did give the originalities 9s. Wayne Gretzky hockey, higher score than I thought. When I think of worst games, it's there. A 3.4.
What? What?
because we gave the originality 9s and replayability 8s.
That is.
But we gave the controls a 2 and we gave the gameplay a 3.
Someone was like, "Oh, well, I mean, if you looked into studied the manual, you could have known that the control was good." It's like, dude, fuck you. No,
Here's
shut
what I
up.
love. NFL, the original NFL on NES, we gave a 3. We gave the control and gameplay for both of that a 1. It just got a
Yes.
10 in originality. And we didn't hate the graphics and sound so much for that game, but we fucking hated control. That was by far. Oh, I'm sorry. There's a new champion of worst football game for sure. NES play action football. That was that. Remember that isometric, like that, like third party
Oh shit.
isometric
Yes.
bullshit?
Yep.
That thing was terrible. So yeah, that's a 2.6 overall. Um, let's see. What else do we have super low?
So if
Karate
anyone out
Champ
there,
was a 3.3.
this is our first
Oh,
review. We
sorry. That was our first review. And even as our first review, we kind of called out how bad that was. But honestly, the worst of that was Best of the Best at 2.3. That remember the mess that was that fucking game?
anyone who pretends that Best of the Best championship kickboxing is good, go fuck yourself. No.
You're fucking high. You are so like Urban Champion. You can have fun with that game. Remember, like even though the control wasn't great, just
Yeah, no,
knocking
it was
each other
no,
down.
it was like an arcade game basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was stupid fun. Yeah.
Even Karate Champ, you and I like we didn't like it, but
No,
you
it's
could
awful.
kind of have fun compared to Best of the Best.
Yeah, I would have more fun with Karate Champ. I can at least give it
Yeah.
that.
And I whooped your ass in all those games, but that's neither here nor there, Jim. That's not what
No
we're
wonder
here
you
for.
had so much fun.
Ooh, Cliffhanger got a 2.9
That
on
what was that? The NES.
on the NES one. Yep,
Yep.
that was pretty. Oh, okay.
There was so much green in that one. There was so much green.
Rambo the video game on PS3 got a 2.4.
I mean, Brian, I can proudly say I have that in my collection back here.
That game sucked.
I mean, that's a legendarily bad game. Good on them for getting better. So we
that
have like
might
that
be the only game you actually gave the graphics a 1.
on the Rambo game.
Yeah, like
Fuck
which
yeah.
in hindsight, I'm like, is 1 really appropriate?
Maybe a 2. Maybe a 2 would have been more fair.
Yeah, I gave it a 2. You gave it a 1.
Fuck that
all
game.
right, so that was a 2.4. Like we have plenty of the 3s and 4s. I'm just trying to find like the 2s. That's
I'm shocked. Like one of the better,
Badder.
yeah, the better, like one of the worst road rashes isn't like on there somewhere.
So the worst road rashes, there were some low scores, but let's see. The road
I guess
rash,
the multiplayer probably boosted it up and all.
So road rash,
The music probably saved it a lot of the time,
honestly, the lowest one was a 5.3, and that was Road Rash 64.
which I enjoyed more than you.
Yes, you did. I gave it 4s pretty much across the board, and you gave it 6s. You're like, it's not too bad.
Yeah, it's very slightly above. Yeah, it's like definition of average. Some things are fun about it. It's
Jim
got some high points.
It's funny. Early, Jim, I feel like you were a little rougher on games. Later, Jim, especially the Jim bias factor, which is always if he bought it or owned it. The Jim bias factor.
No bias, Brian. No bias.
You had pure bias. Like Superman, what? Superman 64.
I didn't even buy Superman, motherfucker.
No.
I
know.
and
but
I just
I'm
like the
saying
rings.
Superman 64 got a 2.5 out of us. So yes, it's obviously super low.
And that
It
was
is-
me defending the ring sections. You defending nothing.
I gave the gameplay a 1. You gave it a 3.
Rings, baby.
That strictly because of rings.
Give me more of those rings.
Yet you know what? This is where it pisses me off. All right. Jim gave gameplay and control 3s, but you agreed with me in your overall score of giving it a 2.
Yeah, it's a mess.
Make it make sense, Jim.
Sound, there's like barely no sound. Graphics, while it emulates the Superman
You
cartoon
gave the
show,
graphics a 4, you son of a bitch.
still could have been better. Like I said, it emulated the thing well for what it was, but very sparse and empty.
Once again, Jim buys a game. He's gonna
I
be like,
didn't buy the game, and I defended it more than you. Once again, your argument is wrong and
wait,
flawed.
I didn't buy the game.
Yo, you were the one who owned it. I don't have that game. You bought it for that review.
Did I?
Yeah.
Or did wait, was that one of the ones did it get sent into us?
No, no, you just bought that for the review.
Did I really? Oh, then I gotta burn that shit.
Right, give it to me.
Nope. I'm exploding it.
Right, give it to me. I love her.
But yeah, I mean, I love that question. Like it, and I think honestly, like, yeah, Rambo, Superman 64, best of the best. Like these are all just
All the ones that just like jump out in our brain.
hot dog shit games. Who Framed Roger Rabbit got a 3.8 out of us.
Yeah, that's a bad
So
one.
did Karate Kid.
That's a bad one too.
When we went on our little like do AVGN games. That was
A lot
pretty
of shit.
fun to do because I
A lot of
wanted
shit.
we
A lot
wanted
of
to
shitloads
see.
of fuck.
Yeah. Yeah. I like it though. No, but great question. Yeah, I think we were without like replaying it recently, I think all those scores in my mind would hold up. Like I don't think we would change our minds very much.
Yeah, like whenever like the question comes into like what's the worst game you've ever played, I kind of always go to Wayne Gretzky on the NES because like that was just so unplayable. So it's just like
But honestly, best of the best is fucking rough.
it is.
And Rambo is rough. Like it's funny. Like I know you and I agree. Like off the top of my head, I tend to throw Wayne Gretzky, but I'm like, man, best of the best. And remember
Here,
Pit
here,
Fighter on the
here,
Super NES?
oh, that's a disaster. Here's what, and actually, our buddy Dan on Console Wars just reviewed that.
Just
That poor
did it.
bastard.
Yep.
But here's the thing: like, best of the best, at least, is like visually impressive for how fluid the movement is. Uh,
Oh,
Rambo is like fun garbage. It's fun slop.
by the way, I actually went to a different section. I forgot the fighting games. Pit Fighter's our lowest. It's 1.4.
No shit. Wow.
1.4. Yeah, best of the
Deserved.
best was 2.3. Pit Fighter 1.4. My God, the amount of these. Fuck, man. I really like it's funny looking at all the games we actually played and scored because we did every game from Super NES and Genesis. I feel like we
Fighting
should,
games. That is fighting games for
yeah, I feel like
the
we should
newer
go
people.
back and re-release it, Jim. Get them out there to
A
the
little,
masses.
a little re-review, maybe a little return. Return to
Yeah,
Monkey.
get them done. You know. But yeah, no, I absolutely love that question. So good job.
Yep. And next up from Chris Iozzi. Hey gang, have you ever done a dry January or other short-term drinking hiatus? Also, have you ever thought about quitting entirely? Cheers.
Yeah, I did. I don't even know if I did in January. I did a dry month.
You did a dry January before. You did that a
Was it
couple years ago.
January?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I definitely. Here's the deal. If you're like, here's a challenge. I, I like challenges. It wasn't honestly for me. It wasn't that hard. And there have been times where I'm like, my body feels like shit. Like, should I just stop drinking? Um, that tends to fade away because I don't really drink that. Like, it's just I drink honestly more for taste than getting fucked up at this point. Where like
Me
if I
too.
Jim is like, I need a beer at all times, especially when the weekend hits. Like for example, like Jim and I are very different when it comes to drinking, except for when we're both actively trying to get drunk. Whereas like if it's the weekend, I'll be like, I'll pour myself a bourbon or make myself a martini. I enjoy the flavor. I get one, I get that little buzz going. I can stop. I'm good. Jim's like, I need this beer can filled at all times. And that's why it's quantity over quality.
Look, I can do my quality as well, but yeah, no, I'm definitely more the type that's like I'm either not drinking or if I am drinking, I'm gonna party. So
You're gonna go for it. Yeah. Yeah. I
I'm
don't
40. What a great way to live.
well, here's the deal. But then come too many games, the intention is pretty clear. We're going to get fucked up. Like,
Oh, we're going out.
yeah. And there are times if I'm having a party at my house, I'm not driving anywhere. I'm gonna keep going. It always usually goes the same. I'll be cooking shit for everyone. I'll be doing stuff. I'll have many, many beers. And then at some point near the fire pit, it's like, all right, it's time to break out the whiskey. So there is a whole thing that goes into it. But yeah, I don't know. When I'm home for the weekend, I try not to. But then you know what it is? There will be like a random Tuesday or Wednesday if it's just a shitty day at the office. I'm like, I just want to have a strong beer. I'm not getting fucked up. I just want one beer, take the edge off because life is every day's a blessing, right, Jim?
Damn tootin'.
That's why part of the reason why eventually we switched from Mondays to doing this on Thursdays was it was an interesting way to start the week. A few craft beers.
We switched because you work from home on Fridays, motherfucker, or you're off on Fridays now. So you want to have a nice little morning day to enjoy yourself and all that shit. Daddy still goes to goddamn work.
Well, work
I'm
tends.
too goddamn nice. That's my fucking problem. I don't have the option to.
Well, make an option. Come on.
If only. If fucking only.
Yeah. Do I ever think I would fully quit? I don't think I would ever fully quit just because honestly, like I said, it's more about the flavor. Like if I'm not drinking coffee or water, I don't I'll drink soda with very specific things. I don't drink like iced tea or like no. I don't.
I've been dabbling more with the sparkling ices so I can get my carbonation
Okay.
without all the bullshit from soda.
That's my LaCroix. I guess I stand corrected. LaCroix is my other thing I'll drink. Yeah, because I get my carbonation from that. But yeah, no, I'll never fully quit. But honestly, doing a month off. Did you ever do a dry month?
Um, Not fully out of choice, so without going into too much detail, like what do you call it? Like my daughter was born with some complications, so I was very on edge and high alert for a good long time after she was born. So I probably didn't drink for a good 4 to 5 months after she was born. And then even when I was like started to have like a beer or two here or there, I felt like guilty about it until I was like she's great now, like no worries there, anything like that. She's doing absolutely wonderful. But yeah, like for a while, like just out of that concern, I was like, if something happens and I'm fucking drunk and can't be there to take care of this, like I will never forgive myself. So I did not drink for a good long while there. And then, of course, the first time I think I wound up drinking was the Too Many Games that year. And then I also got con crud, and I felt like absolute dog shit as I had to be home alone taking care of my kid when my wife had some other plans. So that was a day from hell. Nothing like feeding your infant toddler, where not even from hangover, but from con crud, you're sitting there going, "Ugh, ugh, ugh."
Yeah, that cotton crud is it's
That's the worst. That is the fucking worst. Wash your goddamn asses, you animals.
But yeah, no, yeah, a month stretch. It's not bad. Here's the deal. If anyone out there is a more than casual drinker, meaning like you purposely try and get fucked up every weekend or whatever you do, try it. See if you can go a month. As not a non-expert, I would say if you really struggle to go a month without drinking, you might have a problem. Yeah. So a month should be doable for that. Little tangent. There is one challenge I will never participate in. That's the one in November that some people decide to do, Jim.
Oh, the fucking no.
No. There's yeah, just nope.
Just fucking say it. No, not November. Why are you being coy? Yes.
I'm just saying there's no sense to I don't even know the origins of why that like dry January makes sense. Holidays are over, you're all fucked up, it's a new year, you're trying to reset. The No Nut November, other than rhyming, I don't get why it's
that's like Proud Boy bullshit where they think like if you like spill your seed, you're wasting your full potential or some bullshit like that, and then it just kind of like went out to the ether from there. I'm probably fucking up the thing of it, but yeah, like no, like look, either I'm nutting by choice or I'm waking up sticky one morning because I haven't nutted. All right, like things just happen. No, the nuts have to happen. All right.
I would presume if you attempted this challenge and you had a wet dream, that wouldn't cancel it out.
No, I mean you're the victim at that point.
I hear that.
Can you imagine losing on a technicality? Jesus.
Damn it, Jim.
That's like the worst kind of way to lose. Fuck.
No, I like that question.
Right. Speaking of losing on a technicality, let's get back to our dear friend Firestar, who got his championship stripped away from him. I'll go back to plug the Patreon later. It's too good a transition. So yes. So we talked about it. Pokemon Go, they have official tournaments to the surprise of 99% of the living population. And their one champion, Firestar, was stripped of it for celebrating too hard, and by fire too hard, he fist bumped. So,
Yeah.
yeah, back to your goddamn fucking never-ending story. It always comes back to that. You know what? Fuck Baxter. I'm glad he lost. Lose your goddamn title. But
Damn
so
it.
they put out a statement because apparently they've had two controversies lately in the old Pokemon trading card tournament field. So one of them was a CG, trading card game, Swiss Round 13. Headphones were removed and thrown onto the table on the top of cards and damage counters, putting the game in a state of disarray before actions could be taken. So that makes sense. You kind of fucked up the game.
Justify
Sure.
that. Yeah.
Want to penalize the guy, give him a match loss? Sure. Makes sense.
Yep.
But then, of course, they had to spend more time and text on the famous and viral grand finals of the Go finals. So what they say is prior to the final game, during one of the bracket reset series, a player was issued a warning for hitting and shaking the table during gameplay. These can have a negative impact on the experience of participants and disturb the match in progress. Pokemon Go is played on a phone. I don't know
This
how,
is what I'm trying to
I don't know
understand.
how they do it on the tournament scene. Maybe they have some fancy schmancy setup. Pokemon Go is played on a phone. Pinning a table should have no impact. Why do you even have a fucking table? So just putting that out there.
Yeah.
Then during game 5, this same player's behavior continued to be disruptive, including shaking the table to the point that there was a disruption to the broadcast experience. So they probably have a table with a camera looking, because they have cameras looking
They
at the
probably
players.
have a little tripod right on the camera or on
Probably
the
just
table.
shook the fucking camera.
Yeah.
So these repeated infractions resulted in a penalty that was escalated to game loss. We will uphold the decisions made by the judges at this event. Pokemon judges are committed to bringing the best possible experience to our players by preserving the competitive integrity of our events. Bri, the competitive integrity of Pokemon Go will not be infringed.
It's
the
very
53rd Amendment, Brian.
It's very important, Jim.
Without them and their commitment to play Pokemon, we would not be able to hold events, and it is our expectation that they are treated with the same respect as all people in the community. They're saying about the judges. Fuck the judges. In a moment of a win, emotions are high, and we recognize that these emotions can lead to energetic reactions of celebrating a win. We want to support this authentic, positive reaction and not discourage this excitement. But you are.
But you
Celebrations are
absolutely
not the issue, but actions can disrupt or negatively impact competitive integrity can be. This was after the game was over. We will continue to listen to the community of players and our judges will on how best to evolve our tournament system, rules, and how they are enforced.
Okay. I fully support you can't have somebody throwing their headphones down, being angry.
Makes sense.
I'm also okay if you gave multiple warnings of somebody banging the table. You know, a simple one time, you give a warning. If they're doing it multiple times, I'd be okay. But once again, the celebration of the win, the fist in the air, that if you jumped up, said, yeah, fuck you, like, or even like we're talking shit or like yelling in someone's face, different story. But like just an excitement, nah. There's still zero justification for that. And don't give me the shit like, well, culturally it's different. No, fuck that. Human celebration is human celebration. Like you win something big, you're like, fuck yeah. Like whatever your thing is, knock it off. Come on.
I mean, what more is there to add than that? If your culture is you can't celebrate a win, then your culture sucks.
Absolutely. That's why you probably never win on the big stage. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. I mean, wait, are you talking about me or the royal we? What are we talking about here? I never know with you.
Fuck. Huh. I wasn't even giving you a dig there.
I just don't know anymore, Brian. I'm always on guard.
Jim, you what? I can't stare. I can't smile. I can't do anything.
I love the bird.
You.
You dare. But yes, and also once again, thank you to everyone on Patreon for the support. Head on over to YouTube, Apple, Spotify, or Podbean. Leave those likes, comments, and subscribes. It always helps the page. And Brian, speaking of helping, sometimes you can help and help and help, and it just goes unappreciated, which is the case that happened to the one
Jim.
in what?
Sometimes you come from a culture of losers.
Who are you saying is the culture of losers here, Brian?
Were we just talking about Pokemon Go and Japan and maybe some of their rules?
Are you saying Japan is full of is a culture full of losers, Brian?
I I am not saying that.
There's some implication there,
You
Brian.
listen. I just because I throw out there that sometimes you could come from a culture
Nope,
of
nope,
losers.
nope, 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 nope.
I believe in adding potential context to however you want to interpret the world, Jim. If I
Me?
give if I give you sunglasses and you wear it at night, you can't tell me it was darker and I force that on you.
No, if I did that, I'd be like every goddamn podcaster in the world on YouTube.
Exactly. So don't do it.
I'm not the one doing it.
All right.
Wasn't
So
even the
we're
one
in
bringing it up in the
agreement. So
first place.
we're in agreement. I don't know.
I was
what your
about to bring
problem
up a
is.
hero, and you said his culture is about a bunch of losers. That's what you just fucking did.
I said no such thing.
Mm.
So we're in agreement. So go continue.
Mm.
So continue.
Mm. But
Go
yes,
on.
as I was trying, God fucking damn it. So Shuhei Yoshida. So one of the legends. Man, Bry just here's a goddamn name from there. And he's all little giggle bitch over here.
Wow, I'm a little racist.
Man, ridiculous. So Shuhei Yoshida, legend in the industry, was famously let go from PlayStation Studios and he eventually told people why. Much like the fine, respectable people of Japan, no matter what Brian says, he didn't take to social media, didn't do the flame wars. But yes, he was fired by Jim Ryan during his, according to some, reign of terror from 2019 to 2024. And he says it's because he didn't listen to him. Now, he goes on to say at a conference that he was at the Australian Games Festival called Alt Games, and he said, I helped make Santa Monica God of War, Naughty Dog to make Uncharted and The Last of Us, and Sucker Punch to make the beautiful Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima was one of the last games I worked on as president of Worldwide Studios, which was one of the studios that was bought up by PlayStation by Jim Ryan during his tenure. They also, they reorganized Sony Worldwide into PlayStation Studios, acquired Insomniac, Housemarque, Nix's, Bluepoint, Heaven Studios, and Bungie in an effort to publish games on PC and develop live service titles like Concord. So, yes. But in 2019, after 11 years of leading first party development, I was fired from the role. Jim Ryan wanted to remove me from the first party because I didn't listen to him, he said jovially. He has to do some ridiculous things, and he said no. So he knew Jim Ryan all the way back from when he first came to PlayStation back in 1994, and he thought because I grew up with Jim in the PS1 days, you don't have one of your friends as one of your subordinates. He really enjoyed the role of promoting and, working on indie games, and he's since gone on and started working on an indie studio, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, this was one of those things that forever when he got fired, people were like, what the hell happened here? And immediately people online went, this is Jim Ryan's fault. And then years later, it's like, oh, it is. Awesome. Gotta love that corporate meddling and reorganization and acquisitions. It's working out so well for everybody.
All right. So here's some questions I have.
Brian's about to play him the Japanese guy.
Listen, just because you don't support the stars and bars doesn't mean I'm just anti-Japanese, Jim. All right.
Go on.
So here, all right. If you were fired,
Stars and bars.
so you see the flag has stars
Thank you, Brian.
and there's bars. So here's the thing. He said he removed me because I didn't listen to him. He asked me to do some ridiculous thing. I said no. I'm sorry. We live in a land of laws, Jim. And what was he asked to do that was ridiculous? Is my only question. I don't know. I don't know what that means. So right away, you're hearing from this guy, and I remember when all this shit went down. It was we might have even covered it, to be honest.
I think we
But
did.
I don't know what that sentence means. He asked me to do some ridiculous things. I said no. Technically, if your boss came in and told you to do something and you said no, you would get fired.
Puts you in
but-
a hot seat.
It's like, if you're going to go far enough to say that, expand. Tell me a little bit of a story. I don't need a whole novella. I just need a little clip it to say, what were the ridiculous things? Like, That's all I need. Tell me what is ridiculous. So I can't right away say Jim Ryan is clearly the villain here without knowing that piece. That's all. That's it. I believe in fairness, Jim. I know you don't. I know you want to defend everyone and be against stars and bars, but I'm not.
Old racist pride at it again.
I mean, by the way, you call this guy a hero. You haven't played one of the games that he helped develop.
Wait, the new God of War I've not played. That's we had a point. We're not here for the details, Brian. We're not here for the minutia.
You've talked shit on Uncharted and The Last of Us. Like, come on.
Yeah, Uncharted fucking sucks. I've never played The Last of Us though. That is one I should play at some point eventually.
Yeah. So let's not act like we're one of your childhood heroes has been dethroned here, Jim. That's all
Look,
I'm
Brian,
saying.
I said he's a hero. I didn't say he's my hero.
All right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Tomato, tomato. So once again, we're all in complete agreement with what I'm saying. I'm glad we came to.
We can be such a strong word at times.
I mean, it's not we, you. So I hear what you're saying, but I'm just
Well, then
saying,
it would be good.
Exactly. Don't you fucking dare.
Ha-cha-cha-cha.
Listen, I know it's easy to say a new guy coming in, he fucked up. Also, it's kind of weird. He's like, he grew up with Jim during the PS1 days, and you don't want one of your friends to be one of your subordinates. But like, it'd be like if I hired you, Jim, and I
I
said,
would never let that fucking
and I
happen.
said, Jim, I just need you to come in on time. And you're like, that's ridiculous. No. All right.
Fuck you, buddy.
All right. You're fired. And then you're like, giving interviews. He asked me to do ridiculous things. I don't know what ridiculous. Maybe he did ask what most people would consider conventionally ridiculous. I just needed to know, Jim.
I mean, that is one without having watched the entire thing. Obviously, like we're just reading an article here. So, and maybe he did go into details. I don't know if he did. If you know, let us know in the comments below. Tell us we're wrong and stupid. That's fine, whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, you would think that would be an important thing you would put in the article if you mentioned it. So, that's one of those things that you do you can't leave that as a vague post. Kind of have to go into a little bit of detail here.
Yeah, exactly.
Just one anecdote. Just give one. Doesn't have to be all. Just one.
Man of details. That's all I am, Jim. I give options. I like details. I like stars and bars. I'm a simple guy.
Brian, you might be the simple guy, but I am the cheap guy. And there is some good news coming this week from the what?
Stars and
now.
Just saying, stars and bars. Xbox, stars and bars. Go on.
Well, that was worth derailing everything. Yes. Yes, Xbox has announced. So last week with the good old Fun Time Boys, we were discussing about the leaked leaked memo.
Yeah, see, look, I'm talking stars and bars. You're talking manifestos, talking the rising sun. Like, you're just all about everything but here.
Certain guys in hoodies and sunglasses weren't wrong about everything. That's all I'm saying. So
go on.
So, Asher Sharma, the new, head of Microsoft Xbox in the gaming division, said starting today, and this was as of, I forget when, a couple days ago, Game Pass Ultimate drops from $29.99 a month to $22.99 a month. PC games will also drop from $16.49 to $13.99 a month. Prices may vary by region. Also, beginning this year, future Call of Duty titles will not join Game Pass Ultimate or PC at launch. They will be added during the following holiday season, so about a year later, while existing Call of Duty titles already in the library will continue to be available. So, then it goes on to just talk about, all the access to games and a wide breadth of geographies, blah, 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 corporate bullshit no one cares about. So, the big news here, price cuts. We've been saying forever that the price has been too high. Price cuts are a good thing. Very good for the consumer. Way to bring people back in. And we've also been talking about how Call of Duty had, record low sales basically, because if you can get on Game Pass day one, why would you not get it on Game Pass and just play through it? If you like it, you like it. You keep Game Pass. If you don't, you fucking cancel. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, it makes sense, especially that Call of Duty was a huge linchpin of this Activision multi-dozen billion-dollar acquisition. you might want to try and make all the actual sales from it that you can. So, yeah, it makes sense to delay it. These are, I think, from a corporate standpoint, these are very good moves and a step in the right direction.
Uh, I
And
don't
from a
know.
woman, no less. But go on.
Damn it, Jim. I don't know how anyone would look at this and be negative. Once again, you just lowered your monthly services by 23%, whatever it is. Like you are helping consumers at a time right now where, Jim, grab your phone, look at your stocks. You don't even have to open it. They're not doing great. Most things aren't. Gas is up, prices, everything up, housing is up, but Xbox.
It's all for the greater good because we're war maxing right now. So we have to bomb mog the Iranians. So it's perfect.
The sad part is I don't even know if that's a real term or not. And half of me could believe it could be with all the dumb shit out there.
That's the mystery of the dance.
Cause of you motherfucker, by the way, I swear you saying what you said, all of a sudden I'm getting, what's his name?
Clavicular. Yep.
Whatever. And it looks maxing. He was on an interview. I'm just like, what the fuck are they talking about? And
So happy.
mogging.
I'm so happy right now.
I hate it all. But I don't hate a price decrease. All that does is help.
Actually, Brian, a little history lesson for you. Mogging came from this one woman on Twitter who said that she was butt mogging a bunch of people passing by as she was doing a twerk. So, Clavicular cannot claim the mog. The mog was before.
I am not accepting that as a verb.
That's good butt.
I don't know whose butt it is, so I can't even agree or disagree with you.
Butt mog.
But here's the deal. I think this is a great step in the right direction. We talked about it. She's implementing it, so kudos to that. Yeah, the Call of Duty thing, and she also said, like, you will get it for free following the next season, which this article alludes to could be a year. So I'm not exactly sure what that means. But Call of Duty's like, after 6, 8 months, whatever, yeah, you're pretty much going to know if you're going to play it because then you're gearing up for the next one anyway, since they are pretty much yearly releases. So, yeah, you get it for free. If you really want to wait a whole year to play it, then you're going to be playing the outdated one, which is like, you could do that. So you still will get it. But, day one, if you want to make money off that franchise, you got to sell it.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, after the first couple months, Call of Duty kind of lives and dies at this point by Warzone. So,
100%.
Yeah, so it kind of like doesn't even really matter all that much. So, I mean, unless that locks access to the new maps or whatever, like fucking, I don't know the ecosystem anymore. But yeah. So I mean, but again, like if Xbox is trying to rebuild and actually get some interest and hype behind the Xbox brand and Game Pass, cutting price. The only negative thing I saw was people speculating that like price cuts to like an established service could be sign of a recession coming, but like people are saying that about everything. So
you know
sure.
What? If the cat is out of the bag because of a fucking Xbox Gaming Pass getting a price cut, we're pretty fucked. Is all I'm gonna say.
Damn, Brian, we got economy mocked by Xbox. Holy shit.
If you were here, that would be such a ball tap, and you would deserve it. Like, you couldn't even argue it. But here's what I'll say. We talked about Sharma came in. She's doing some shit.
She's brand maxing.
Not only is she price cutting,
this is fun.
She talked about the Xbox mobile store and also potential Xbox and Discord partnership. But the other biggest news right now is the potential scrapping of Microsoft Gaming and basically bringing Xbox back. Damn it. Because when did it really become Microsoft Gaming?
Around the same time as the Activision acquisition, so back in 2022.
Okay. So yeah, it's been 4 years of this little
right.
Jim and I
Right.
Yeah.
Could you say
it's been a while?
I could say it's been a while, you son of a bitch. It's only because I like that song that you would get less of a ball tap. You'd still get one. and you know why. But
You just told me. Of course I know why.
but I mean, you and I have been talking for years now. What's going to happen with the Xbox? They clearly just service-based gaming with Microsoft Gaming going PC, going mobile. All the care of Xbox is kind of going out the window. She could fail at all this, and this could end up not going anywhere, but she clearly is trying to bring the Xbox division back, and she wants a return of the Xbox as being an actual competitive thing out there. So, once again, unless you are a true hater of Xbox, I don't see how this is bad. Like,
Yeah.
you should want competition in gaming. You should want a focus back on the console itself. Maybe this is a way to help ensure at least another generation or two of physical consoles and things like this. So most people should probably support this. It's just my takeaway.
And like when Microsoft at the tail end of Spencer was trying to do that everything is an Xbox campaign that like no one liked.
Yes.
Should we thank David Jaffe for his terrible like graveyard joke for that grieving guy? And like it's just like, all right, maybe this whole everything's an Xbox campaign, we've got to move on from this. But like, yeah, if you're still trying to have an Xbox brand in some shape or form, you kind of have to call things Xbox and have Xbox stuff. So like you just can't call it Microsoft Gaming because then there's no Xbox. Like what the fuck are we doing here? So even at the smallest level, they're redoing the logo. Sure, fine. And then yeah, they're just gonna put things back to say Xbox. Good. It reestablishes a brand. Less confusion. So I don't see how that's a bad thing.
I I like it. Once again, is this kind of like when WCW like was like, here's the new brand. Like it always worries me when like they kind of try to double down on shit. Because is this the last attempt of like going out swinging? That's the only thing that worries me, right? Like you're lowering prices, all Xbox, rah rah rah. Is this the last ditch effort before it's like complete admission of failure and you close shop?
Yeah, I mean, there has been that discussion where people are like, how are they supposed to do anything if they just change their strategy every 3 years? Which is a fair argument, I gotta say. But it's like what they've been doing has not been working
Yeah.
at all. So it's like, do you stay the course and just say, well, fuck it, we're gonna keep doing what we're doing? Like, maybe it's a more honorable death, but like, it might be a more stupid one if you're selling 400 consoles a month in Japan or whatever. Like, Xbox is not doing good. Like, they need a shot in the arm of something. So it's like, now, granted, I've been wrong on mostly everything I've commented on Xbox for the past couple of years. So I could be dead wrong, and maybe the everything's an Xbox would have worked out in the end because, like, shit like Halo. Well, Halo hasn't come out yet, but Forza and Gears of War sold a shitload of copies on the PlayStation 5 and made Xbox brand and Microsoft a lot of money. So it's like you can still do that, but would that be make it a little fucky instead of saying, Microsoft Studios on the box of a game on a PS5 game, it says Xbox Studios. Like, would that be a little almost too penisy? I don't know. Would PlayStation still go for that at that point?
I mean, here's the deal, Jim. You've agreed with everything I've said so far tonight, and you've been aligned with me. The record will show. Here's my question: is this little move here? Is this Xbox version of the annexation of Puerto Rico? That's my only question.
I mean, it's not really annexed. It's like, what is this? Their Bay of Pigs? Is that what you're trying to say? Or
the fact you don't know this reference tells me everything I need to know about your childhood, Jim.
What's the annexation of Puerto Rico? I don't know this reference.
It's the famous trick play from the classic 1994 movie Little Giants with Ed O'Neill and Rick Moranis.
I mean, all right, I have at least seen that, but it has been the hottest of minutes since I've seen it. Brian, I think the last time I saw that, a TV was rolled in on a big metal bracket into a classroom.
I mean, you are a notorious hater of Rick Moranis, and you
what?
actually
No,
supported,
you shut your godless whore mouth.
Him
no,
getting punched.
no, No,
by random people,
no.
whereas I defend Rick Moranis. There's two types of
Don't you
people out there.
fucking dare.
Th-
He is a
There's
goddamn treasure.
there's those that defend Rick Moranis, and there's Jim's. All right. So which one are you?
Lies and slander. Brian, I will call the quartering. I will have him come after you, all right? He's doing it to everybody right now.
So yes, that is the famous trick play. So that's my point. Is this the Xbox version of that? Is this their final trick play in hopes, revitalizing it, getting people back, lowering prices? I hope it works, is all I'm saying. And I feel like even if you are the most staunch PlayStation, Nintendo, you should want them to succeed because you want that competition. Because if they go down, it's game over for any form of competition.
When it
And
gets
yeah,
worse.
exactly. So, yeah. But gaming's a fickle bitch, Jim. And for all the good that's out there,
Speaking of bitches,
for all
let's
the,
talk about a 7-year-old robot.
oh, Jim, I almost feel like you got this as Journo's mad. I feel like this could almost be a normie view because I read this and I don't know where you're at on this because the two things you sent me, one is very clear to me. It's like disavowing the sexualization of this character Diana from Pragmata.
Pragmata.
Yeah.
Pragmata. It's like the new like big game that everyone's playing right now.
Okay.
Capcom game, basically some future soldier runs into this little robot that's, made to look like a 7-year-old girl, and they go on an adventure together to try to survive something, whatever's happening.
Yeah. So the article, we'll get into both of these. So like you sent me one article where this journalist is basically like, we need to draw a line because there's fucking creepos on Reddit who are sexualizing this 7-year-old robot girl. And then the other thing you sent me is from someone, Mary Morgan. I don't know who she is, but basically is really shitting on the game because it portrays a childless man in a paternal role too much. And I was like, where is she? Like, she must be really fucking mad at something. Like, I once again, I don't know who she is, but when I read this, I was like, she is very just going hard. She's like, men are not nurturers. Men don't gush over kids and I'm like, who hurt this woman? I don't know her story, but that was such a weird dynamic from let's stop sexualizing this kid to that. So that's why I'm saying I don't know where you were taking me with this little ride, Jim, but I want you to tell me.
All right, Brad, you know what? This is a crossover, one could say, between Normie View and Journo's Mad. So, the original article that I put in here was by one Stacey Henley from The Verge. And like you alluded to, gaming cannot allow Pragmata's Diana fan club to flourish. Where the first several paragraphs are talking about the weird sexualization of this character. Where there is the official Pragmata Reddit forum had to be shut down because too many people were making sexualized memes of the Diana character, who I'm sure the creepos are justifying it as, well, she's just a robot. She's a robot based on a 7-year-old kid. And there was something put in our Discord about someone on fucking Twitter who has since been suspended. You'll find out why right now, because they made one of those side-by-side comparison things complaining of censorship. Because in Japan, she's just wearing like not jorts, but like, biker shorts basically under her dress, where it's much more censored in the West. And this person complained about it. And everyone went, what the fuck is wrong with you? So this article starts off, kind of going back and forth about Stellar Blade and sexualization of characters in games and stuff like that, while also saying, it's very bad that people are sexualizing this character. And as I'm reading this, because I saw a flurry of tweets about this article, and as I'm reading it at first, I'm going, why? But then we get to the end of the article. And in this, yeah. So it's still talking about all the sexualization, but here we go, Brian. Here we go. Buckle up, buckaroo. The second to last paragraph of this article says, but all of this, the entire culture where everyone is beautiful and no one is horny, is far more intellectual discussion about how we approach and react to modern media. This is a battle between those who wish to over sanitize media, considering sex scenes to hold no merit of weight, need to be too intrusive to viewers and sensibilities, who have those flattered culture down to nothing more than a magazine wrapped in black plastic and sold on it. But it kind of besides the point to delve into when this is the battleground, if it's an actual child, fictional or not. I have not yet played Pragmata, and that's because I'm a little tapped out on stories where men adopt daughter-like figures and prove their masculinity by protecting them. You will now see my crossover with this other thing I posted. I suppose it is marginally a better power fantasy than killing everybody with your awesome strength, but then The Last of Us makes room for both anyway. If I play Pragmata, Capcom's post-launch attitude towards Diana fandom will be a major factor in this. It won't be because I find the child at the center of the game to be attractive. I hope gaming can get back to a place where, if it's too much hope that these people cease to exist, at the very least, they don't get to be so proud of it without consequence. So, the fucking journo could not help themselves. And that's why I linked. Hold on, let me finish.
No, it makes sense now.
Yep. So, next up comes to us from an account known as Mary Morgan. And I will get into why this is so amazing in a way. She says, lots of strange reactions to this game. Let's clear some things up. Childless men do not have paternal instincts the way the childless women have maternal instincts. Men first experience paternal instincts once they have their own children. And typically, these paternal instincts are only ever felt for their own children and no one else's. Men are not nurturers. Men don't gush over cute kids in public. Men don't have baby fever. If a man wants to possess a child for any reason other than it being a product of his own lineage, he is likely a predator. You'd be taking the feminist radical gender abolitionism position to protest any of the points above. This should explain why a quote-unquote dad simulator game, marketed to mostly childless men, gives people the creeps. Brian, have you looked at Mary Morgan's profile yet? I hope no. Because we can play a little
click
game.
it right now.
No, do not.
Okay.
So we're going to play a little game, Brian. And that game is called, which one is the trans author and which one works for Tim Pool? Because we're getting the same message from fucking both.
Yeah, so in full admission, so Stacey Henley, the one that did the article, I did click on her stuff. So I pretty much know. Okay. And then my cursor, I did not click on Mary Morgan, but as I highlighted it, it said Pop Culture Crisis at Timcast, which I assume when you said Tim Pool, that's who Timcast is.
That's his podcast, yeah.
Okay. So and remind me again, Tim Pool is very right leaning.
Very, very right leaning. Big controversy about taking Russian money to show their propaganda to get Trump elected. Blah, blah,
so
blah,
they
blah.
both kind of come to the same conclusion. So here's the admission. When I read that article, I even read down. I did not read the final paragraph because I was like, I get it. Like she's again. So to your point, that
right,
little
you missed
blurb,
the best part.
Yeah. Well, that one line blurb, if you just removed, it would be
a perfectly sensible article. Yeah.
Yes.
Unremarkable, nothing really worth talking about. It would have been like, sexualizing a child's bad. Yes.
Yeah. Everyone should agree with that. Neither of us are childless men, but I can tell you the whole thing of men aren't nurturers or don't gush over cute kid. So today was bring your kids to work day. And I can tell you in the group where I sit, where it's 20 of us or whatever, and there's men and there's women, some people brought in younger kids, some whatever. The men were the ones like making sure like the kids, especially the younger ones, aren't running into desks. We're like protective of like, yo, the kid's like running whatever. It's not an admonishment on the women, but like, so I'm going to right away say like, yes, men are very much nurturers, regardless of if it's our kids or not. When we go to family parties, when you've been over, when I've been over, we are not just focused on our kids. We're kind of watching out for all kids because I would argue Men are by nature protectors, like of anyone, especially women and children. Why rules established for women and children first were by men. So I think this is really weird that they're so anti men in this. Um, I don't know anything about this game. So is it a dad simulator?
So, okay,
I
so I
don't
actually
know.
talked to a guy at work recently about this because he's a big gamer. He
Okay.
does the same thing I do, and he stays up way too late playing video games. He's like, all right, imagine Bioshock, but instead of the first person, just straight up shooter aspect, all the combat is kind of done through you controlling Diana, doing a series of like puzzles to defeat your like enemies in a way. So it's much more
Okay.
like figuring out the weaknesses, finding environmental shit. Like it's more like puzzle based
And you kind of
combat
like send her to go do a task, basically.
while you're also doing stuff. Yeah.
Okay. And
But with
yeah,
that like same kind of like big daddy little sister feel.
okay. And here's the deal. BioShock's a good example of that, right? Like,
And I've not played
um,
this yet either, so blah 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 whatever. Shut up.
and they use Last of Us as an example of this, which, yeah, Joel becomes a father figure for Ellie in that game. It's a very heartfelt thing, which I think in most roles would be what I mean. If you're talking about a post-apocalyptic world and a dude who lost his real life wife and daughter comes across someone who kind of represents what his daughter was, like he'll be protective. Um, yeah, I don't get the weird. It's weird because the article does such a good job of saying, here's the thing that's wrong with gamers. There's fucking weirdos out there. So I am on the extreme end of anyone that's like, that should be okay, this and that. I'm all for euthanasia. But now you're like taking a wide stance on like, if you're a childless man, then clearly you're a creep, period. And games shouldn't have dad simulators unless it's their own kids. I'm like, I don't know. They're such extreme ends of that. That's just fucking stupid. Like once again, somebody hurt both of these women. I don't know what happened to them, but
Well, I
clearly
mean,
they're
they clearly either both don't have dads or don't have good relationships with theirs. That's what it comes down to.
that's
Well, man, that's the great uniter, isn't it? You have the far leftist and you have the far right, and fucking they just meet in the goddamn middle on fuck men who pretend to be dads. Well, it's
I was
not
gonna
our fault
say
you don't have one.
they have daddy issues and probably have a laundry list of dudes that surprise surprise didn't treat them the best. But here we are. So yeah, yeah, tackling that first thing. You and I have talked about the sexualization of game characters too much, unfortunately.
$1 a
I
month on the crusty corner.
I think it's weird when they're even like stellar blade game, like whatever. Like the hyper sexualization is weird, but we know sex sells, so it's not like that's a gaming endemic thing. Like,
Right.
come on. Like any movie, any ad that did it, let's not act like gaming invented that shit. Um, I I do find it weird, as we've talked about, anime stuff, all that. Like, I don't get the overt attraction, I'll say, to that stuff. Like that asshole who married an anime character in a culture that maybe they're by losers. I'm just saying, Jim.
Always back to the stars and bars with you, Brian, isn't
That's
it?
right.
Old patriotic Brian at it again.
But as much as I can support, let people do what they want, this and that, there's zero support for anyone who, whatever the fuck they were doing on Reddit or these other places that sexualize, even if it's a robot, you know what the fuck it represents. So, yeah, separating that out, those people got to go. And these two women who clearly just hate men, they got to go too.
And it's just like, man, lady, you were so close to having a perfectly fine article that no one could have
Great
umbrage
article.
with
Great article.
until the very fucking end. You just couldn't stick the goddamn landing.
Nope.
And I saw all this outrage on Twitter, and as I'm reading the article, like I said, I'm going, why all the outrage? And then I saw it, and I went,
Yeah.
and Look, that's why we don't need the great grift apocalypse of 2024 that we had. The journalists will do it to themselves. You don't need the straw man arguments. They will do it to themselves.
They, we've covered a lot of these journalists who have their editors give crazy fucking titles that aren't related at all, and they get unfairly blamed.
No,
That's
this
not,
editor did nothing wrong. The title matched
that's
90% of the fucking article.
that's my point. Like, this is not, you can't blame the editor. You like, but you know what? Maybe you can blame the editor, because if I'm the editor and I read this article, I'll be like, maybe cut the, like, if you want to make a whole diatribe about this, write a whole different article. And
Yeah, right. Just a
focus it
whole
on
article
that.
on the dad simulator games. Sure.
Yeah,
Have
but
at it.
leave this one as is. Like, take this out. It sounds like you want to start in on something else. Take this out.
Just
Like,
take the win.
it'd be like if George Lucas was like, you know what, in Star Wars, I kind of want to talk about medieval knights. And you're like, that's a different thing. Stick with sci-fi. Just stick with alien shit. Stick with this. Like, don't put people in coats of armor. That's all I'm saying.
Right. Now, see, people call George Lucas crazy for making an entire movie about a trade dispute, but who's smart now?
Jim, I can probably promise you 90% of people who've watched Star Wars could not retell you even a piece of that scroll and realize that what you just said is true.
Oh, they know, Bri, because that's also a famous meme running around now. Of course, Mike Vrabel had to fuck it up, but besides that,
Don't you dare.
what do you mean, don't I dare?
Don't you dare.
The goddamn center. That's what he is.
He just wanted to have fun. What, you can't have friends?
Yeah, I know.
Can't hold hands? Can't swim? Can't swim with your buddies?
Penis.
Yeah, if you and Blade want to hold hands. Actually, you and Blade were recreating all those pictures, by the way.
Don't you fucking dare.
Yeah. Blade, be ready.
Look, I can look lovingly into his eyes, all right, and not ruin my family, all right? I'm a man with control.
Or can you? You tell
Oh,
me.
I can. Can and I will. Get over here, you little blubbable bastard. Give you some smooches.
Oh, but Jamers, you took my anti-stars and bars approach and you really Pearl Harbored me with a new article as we were talking. And you can't even deny it because you know it's true.
Oh, this was an 11th hour edition. That's for goddamn sure.
Yeah. You sneak attacked me with this one. And I like it because it's a recurring bit. But I will admit, because you threw it in there, I'm going to need a little bit of context. And we are talking a little overrated, underrated. So, Chambers, what is this topic of this week's overrated, underrated?
The topic of this week's overrated, underrated is a console that lives in the lore of retro gaming. A console that everyone knows about, who follows the scene, and a console that most people want, but unfortunately, most could never afford. And that, of course, is the Neo Geo. And I'm, of course, talking about the home version, the AES. So, the AES was legendary for being a super expensive console at launch, with every game cartridge being super expensive as well. But the upside to that was that you had a full, legitimate arcade experience at home. These were giant cartridges with tons of memory that perfectly, it was the same exact game you would find in the arcades at an arcade. That was a great sentence by me. So yes, and with SNK being SNK, 90% of the fucking library of the system was fighting games and shoot 'em ups. You had the occasional little platformers like Magician Lord and some other games and maybe a few tactical games here and there, some puzzle games. You had Puzzle Bobble. No one's going to hate on Puzzle Bobble. But yeah, for the most part, yeah, you're playing some fighting games that look great or some shooters that play great. Great soundtracks, all that kind of stuff. But for as much as it is in the weeds, Brian, the people apparently have been clamoring for it to come back. There is famously the Neo Geo X Gold that came out in the early 2010s. That was a little bit of a misfire with bad emulation to try and recreate the experience. Came with the system. It opened up so you could put in like your memory card, and it had like a simulation of the actual control stick. But now there's a new console that has just been announced, and it is the Neo Geo AES Plus. And this is basically saying that it is a no mere micro console. According to PlayOn, who is the company that is creating this, it doesn't use emulation and offers a wholly authentic experience for both hardware and software, looking, feeling, and playing just as you remember. It includes full compatibility with the original Neo Geo AES cartridges, but not the MVS carts, should be noted, as these use different boards and contacts. So, the base model of this will be coming out with just the system and the controller for 250 American dollars. Cartridges will be $70. And yes, it runs on the the original comprised of the Motorola 6800 working with the Zilog's Z80A co-processor. Meanwhile, it was, all that dumb bullshit no one cares about. So, the new features, of course, it has HDMI out, on-screen BIOS setup, dip switches located on the bottom of the console for territory selection, overclocking options, and different display modes. It also includes ports for and it's going to be selling a memory card, and also just like in the original day, and has an original AV out port to recreate the original AV out experience. And bundles include the 10 games that are being re-released for this. So those games include Garou Mark of the Wolves, Metal Slug, Samurai Showdown 5, Big Tournament Golf, which I think is the original name of Neo Turf Masters, and they lost like a thing for it. I could be wrong. There might have been two of them. King of Fighters 2002, Magician Lord, Shock Troopers, Twinkle Star Sprites, Polestar, and Overtop. So, accessories. There is recreations of the original controller, the CD controller, which is more like a normal gamepad with the click stick, and of course the memory cards. And there are the bundles. So you can get the standard edition, which will be $250 American, the anniversary bundle, which is white, which will be $350, which comes with a white Metal Slug cartridge game not available anywhere else. So that's the gimmick there. Or you can spend $1,000 to get the Neo Geo AES Plus, all 10 games, a holder for your 10 games, two arcade stick controllers, one memory card, and one wireless CD compatible controller. And that is your $1,000 monster. So, Brian, for a console, legendary console that no one could afford before and was expensive back in the day, is it worth delving back into now for the price of, say, like an Evercade? Or you could buy the entire big bundle with cartridges and all for the price of a low-end gaming PC.
Jim, do you know how much the original AES cost?
What was that, like $700? $700?
650.
650.
Wait, I hate you. 650, which if you add to inflation in today's dollars, that's roughly $1,500 back in the day you would have spent. It was and is so fucking highly overrated for that price point. Now, what I'll say is the base model, what'd you say it was $200?
$250.
So $250.
You get a controller, no games.
No games. Okay. $250 don't sound bad, right? Like, but each game is $90, which is fucking bananas. And I'm sorry. This is where I wish Scarlet Sprites was on with us. Like,
that boy is a big fan of the Neo Geo. Man, his collection. Whew.
Well, and here's the deal. But he has actual arcade cabinets. Like when we went for my son's birthday, we went to that arcade. There are some cabinets that have a shit ton of emulated consoles.
Yep.
I don't know the difference between if I played Metal Slug emulated or if I played it in the arcade. Other than the tactile feel and the look of the cabinet itself, I don't think I would ever be able to be like, there's clearly a difference between the emulated version and the arcade perfect version. Right? Like, and TVs and everything are advanced enough now where you and I both have 60-inch TVs, whatever, they're great, whatever. You could hook your laptop, emulate Metal Slug, Samurai Showdown, all these things. Do you think you would truly see a crazy difference between that and an arcade cabinet? or an AES?
You tell me.
The answer is no. Back in the day, there was no way to do it. So yes, if you wanted to be like you're basically playing the arcade at home, it maybe made sense. Maybe a hair. But for that price point, I'd still say no because this is like and actually this is defined as the most expensive home console ever created. So, to bring that back for games that all these games a number of times over and over again they've been released in bundles that you can get for like $5 or $6 for the entire fucking franchise of almost all these. Why would you pay $90 for a fucking one-off? Is the picture quality going to be that much better? Is the control going to be like there's nothing that all the technology has caught up with emulation. TVs have caught up with arcade sound, controllers. Nothing is going to be more advantageous other than it's a bragging right, right? Like you can just say, I have a Neo Geo, which back in the day, I knew one kid. And guess what? He's a kid that also shit his pants and no one liked. Like he was the only one who had a Neo Geo and would like talk about it because we'd be talking about how we have Super NES or Genesis. He's like, but they're not arcade perfect like a Neo Geo. Fuck that kid. And fuck anyone who thinks this is a good idea. Spend your money how you want to, but if you put out, 250 once again is not bad, but if you put out $90 for a game that you could honestly get for 50 cents or $1 at this point and play on your Xbox, PlayStation, or Steam, you're out of your mind because you're not going to get that much better of quality.
So, so yes. Okay. Before I jump into anything, yeah, I've always thought the Neo Geo was overrated. Look, here's the thing. The shoot 'em ups on the system, you can play games that are just as good or better on the Genesis, on the TurboGrafx, on the PlayStation, anywhere else. It's not a wholly unique thing. Metal Slug, Metal Slug is good. Metal Slug has been re-released 8 billion times. You can play it anywhere. Uh, King of Fighters and Art of Fighting, I do not like as much as Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat. They have their fans. I get that they have their fans. They are well-made games. I can get an experience from them just as much and better somewhere else for way cheaper.
Hey, Jim, quick question.
What? I see that shitty grin on your face.
Where do most of those fans reside?
South
If you had
America?
to guess.
I'll say South America.
I don't think it's South America, Jim.
American weirdos. Maybe Saudi Arabia. They own SNK now, so they're probably all about their King of Fighters over there.
No, I
But
think
they get Ronaldo in the new game, Brian.
I think you know where their fans reside the most.
They get Ronaldo. They get Ronaldo. It's good. It's good.
We've agreed all episode, Jim. I'm just saying.
Once again, that we word you're doing over here, very veto-ish with the we's over here.
We've agreed.
Debatable.
Is it?
Things are debating, Brian. Things
You
can
tell-
be debated.
You tell me.
And like there was a while where like pristine copies of Neo Turf Masters, which is big tournament golf, was going for like $5,000 on eBay. Right now you can get like an open version of it for like 800 to 1,000 ish kind of dollars, shit like that. So yeah, I mean that's still that is a hot mama right there. So I mean the re-release games I think are actually the good part of this deal because if you're a Neo Geo fanatic, you can buy these games for so much cheaper than you can for buying the original things. But then again, if you're a Neo Geo fanatic, you're probably a guy who's just going to buy the originals, not the releases anyway. Or you'll be a psycho and buy both to say you have more for completion's sake. Anyone with a Neo Geo at this point probably has a Retro Tank or an OSSC or even still fucking with an old Frame Meister. They have their ways to play it on a new TV, outside of just straight up emulation too, if they're being hardware purists. No matter how you recreate a thing, it's still emulation. Even if it's hardware, software, if you make it as exact as humanly possible with current day parts, it's still not the exact same thing as what was out before.
Mhm.
So no matter what kind of corporate lingo you throw on it, it's still emulation.
Yeah.
Do I think it's a cool, cheaper alternative to people who've always wanted the real thing but can't have it? Yes. Do I think the Neo Geo system and universe as a whole warrants this? No. So this is going to be a niche thing. I can't see it selling any kind of crazy amount of money. If it ever goes on a sale, like I have it's the same company that made the Atari 2600 and 7800 pluses, and I have a 7800 plus right behind me, and I got on a flash sale for like $50. So obviously that was a cheaper system at launch than this was going to be, but it's still the kind of thing where it's like, if it winds up being super cheap because no one's buying it, then yeah, I'll hop on a fucking flash sale. But outside of that, like, I have no interest. I've never had an interest in the Neo Geo anyway. It's not as good as people make it out to be. Like you say, I have money bias for things I've bought. Neo Geo people are like they're like the dictionary definition of that.
But in all fairness, somehow you got this. I could see you being the staunchest Neo Geo defender.
Oh, Magician Lore is pretty awesome. It's actually better than a lot of these games.
because the frame rates.
Yeah,
No.
Polestar is way better than Musha. Yeah, it's pretty fucking good.
Yeah, there's no way to you did summarize a lot of it good. Like if the best value I see is that person that always wanted a Neo Geo, you don't want to get the old shit, you want it compatible with your new TV, cool. It gives you a chance. It's still overrated as fuck. And what I'm really curious is like, is there still a crazy audience for it? You know, like I'm sure like there's crazy audiences for everything. I guess what does that number look like? Is it 100,000 people, 50,000, a million? I like what is that range? Like I don't even have an idea of like the Neo Geo clamoring community out there. You know, like is it as deep? I don't know.
Uh, yeah, I don't know either. It's probably bigger now. I don't know. I don't know if it's bigger now because at least back in the day, you had like the MVS arcades in an arcade that people would go to and be like, "I wish I had this at home." Yes, I burped. I don't care.
Damn it.
We're late in the show. I don't care. All the rules are gone. Just
But
farted
yeah.
too. Take that. But but yeah, I mean, for like
Don't
kids
fucking
today,
say take that.
take take that. Oh, take it, you bitch. Yeah. So like, yeah, I can't see like kids today don't give a fuck about the Neo Geo. It's all gonna be people in our age group. So at most it'll be us who would be like, all right, that's something I always wanted. Now I can have a Neo Geo. Like when the Neo Geo Gold came out, like I was very tempted to get it when they were liquidating it. But even back then, I was like, I'll probably barely ever play it. So I never did. And the emulation kind of sucked. So, like,
I feel like even people our age, once again, unless you're a purist, which maybe our generation might be the last that even care about that term, because that's like people who buy vinyl or buy whatever. You will talk yourself into how the sound quality is different, how it's better, how it's this. People who want to watch what 16 millimeter films versus what like there's always those purists, but they are so rare that most of the new generation will never even know what a plasma is, let alone a CRT TV, right? Unless they're very niche into it. So
yeah,
it'll be something that fades away, but cool for the niche art audience, but I'm with you 100%. Back in the day and still today, it's overrated. It's not worth the money. Emulate first, and if you fall head over heel in love with all those games and you want them as close as you can get to the original hardware, spend your money if it makes you happy. But just emulate them first and really be sure you want them.
and here's my final statement. If Neo Geo games were as good as Neo Geo fans say they are, more people would be clamoring for them to be in more spots. The best ones have been re-released, and people still just go, "That's cute."
Yeah. Yeah, I that's why I'm saying I really can't imagine that number of people out there being high enough to justify a release like this. But I could be completely wrong. I hope this is something we can get sales data on in a year or so and see how they do, but I don't know.
Time will tell. We shall see. If you see the Amazon flash sale in 6 months after release, then you have an idea.
Not a good sign. Yeah. But Chambers, How did your Shiner Shandy treat you?
It was a tasty girl. I enjoyed it. When I have my other one next week on the podcast, I'll be pouring that out to try and, I guess, get a little bit more of the flavor evenly distributed. But no, it was good, but it also isn't one that I'm like clamoring to go back for kind of deal. So
You had it.
again,
You're never gonna really go out of your way again.
yeah, like when my buddy goes back to Shiner, I will get something else. I'll put it that way. And
Okay.
then, of course, I went to my good old silver bullets after to wash it down, and now I have to
Nice.
feel like a crazy racehorse.
Yeah, I'm keeping with the IPAs and just stuck with the deadheads because of them. They're my least favorite, so I kind of want to get them out of the way. But yeah, no shit on Distill. They're fine, but you can find better IPAs. But with that, guys, we want to say thank you all so much for listening and watching. If you're listening on iTunes, Podbean, or Spotify, give us a 5-star rating. We'll read those comments on each and every one of these Power Hour podcasts. And if you're watching on YouTube, please hit the notification bell, leave us some comments. We obviously read them all. We really appreciate the support. And don't forget to subscribe. With that, guys, we want to say have a good night. Cheers.
Cheers, everybody.